Hello and welcome back to Calradia 1403. We're gonna go into another siege here because this is indeed pushing into SARRANID territory. I was about to say Azari territory, but no, they are indeed the SARRANIDs. Alright, so one thing I'm gonna try to do, use my crossbow more. I need to use my crossbow more because that is inherently going to make us much more powerful, much more viable when it comes to, well, pretty much any action we're going to take. You know, ranged attacks, having the ability to do them is definitely going to help us out a lot. Now, the one thing we've got to be a bit aware of here as well is the fact that we didn't really do much. I was literally just standing there doing the siege. I was going to starve out the garrison before I even started the video, but unfortunately, I should say, I don't know, should I say unfortunately? I don't know, it very much depends, but we did have one of our neighboring vassals turn up to try and help us out a little bit. And I do have to admit, I feel like it's pretty nice of them to do that, but on the other hand, sometimes it's not very good. You know, sometimes them coming in here and actually helping us is not actually helping, and indeed it's maybe making things a little bit more difficult than it would have to be otherwise. And what's really funny is I'm actually going to die here. Look at this. Or maybe not. Ooh. Okay. This is hilarious, actually. This is absolutely hilarious. The amount of damage that enemies can do just purely because they have blunt damage is astounding. So incredibly impressive that they're able to fight us off, because under normal circumstances, if we had this amount of protection, there would be no way they would be able to do anything. It would be a 100%, you know, coming up Barney kind of situation. You know, there would be nothing that they could do. Unfortunately, they were able to penetrate us pretty deeply there, and that was not great. That was not great. Usually I'm okay with that, right? Usually I'm absolutely fine with that. Very much depends on... Oh, never mind. I was actually going to shoot this guy in the face. Unfortunately, he took a load from someone else. Oh, well. Never mind. That would have been fun. And, yeah. So that's the point. Usually I am perfectly fine if there's going to be a guy that wants to penetrate us, but the thing is, I don't really think it's that cool when we do it with 4, but there it is anyway. There's the victory for us. 43 renown and 50 influence. Gotta say, we have been power leveling ourselves dramatically in regards to renown, as you can see from our insane troop space now. We've got a load of capacity here just purely because of all of the solo sieges that we've been doing. And I have to admit, I actually feel like I think that is a fundamental, I don't even know what, just basically a really powerful way to gain, well, anything pretty much, just to increase your... I mean, look at my clan tier right now. We have clan tier 4, and yeah, sure, look at my next clan tier. The next clan tier is 2,350. That is quite significant. It's going to take me like 900 to get to the next clan tier, but that doesn't really matter that much, you know. Basically, at this point in the game, when we have 130 plus, basically any time you get over 100 units, if you can maximize the amount of, should we say, the amount of high tier units that you have in your army, having above 100 is pretty fine for most situations. That's the thing we have to realize here. Most situations can be handled with a much smaller force than you might anticipate. And I'm gonna have to actually reset this particular transaction, because otherwise I am going to be spending way too much. I'm going to be wasting way too much, shall we say. Let me just do this. Whoa, 92 horseman boots. 92 of those things. That's absolutely incredible. All right. That is so funny. Anyway, yeah. So the SARRANIDs are, of course, this is actually really funny. I'm not entirely sure why this is happening, but if you've been watching my channel recently, you'll know that I'm also doing a Warband-centric series where I try to conquer the entirety of the world in 100 days. And the funny thing about that series is that we're currently in Sarranid territory as well. So basically, Sarranids are getting it from both ends. Yeah, they're getting it from both ends. This in in this case, very strange. And indeed, we did level up as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Leader of the Masses, of course. Leader of the Masses is, in my opinion, one of the best perks you can get if you own towns, obviously. If you own towns, this is fantastic. Unless you don't really care about the party size, and then you can get Presence instead, which is going to provide +5 security while waiting in a town. And from my perspective, this actually could be insanely strong. It very much depends on what you've otherwise spec'd into, because if I go over to my charm skill here, if you get Parade, there it is, then that's going to get you +5 loyalty bonus to the settlement while waiting in it. And this, coupled with that, it's going to literally provide you with +5 loyalty, +5 security every single day. And that is one of the most powerful combinations, if not the most powerful combination, for stabilizing a town after you have captured it. So if you are running your own faction, and you're lucky enough to have charm skill relatively high, and your leadership skill relatively high, then take both of these perks, and then when you conquer something, stay in the town for a couple of days just to, you know, alleviate some of the loyalty drift and security drift and stuff like that you're going to be disadvantaged with. Then you're going to be absolutely fine. You're going to have a great time. But I'm going to go for Leader of the Masses just because I don't really feel like I need the security right now, so we'll just go for that. And considering I actually do want to get possibly Parade. I don't know whether we'll go for Public Speaker, but I'm actually thinking, should I go for something else? No, we'll go for Charm Skill. Considering I am at 1x now, you know, the 1 times multiplier, not exactly great. I don't really want 1 times multiplier. I'd like 6 times multiplier, thank you very much. These guys are all making their way into the town as well. Very, very frustrating for that to happen. But, well, that's how it goes, isn't it? That's how it goes. If they run away from me and they manage to escape into the town, then that's just how it's going to have to be, unfortunately. But you can see here that the Sarranids are literally running around with basically nothing, pretty much. Basically nothing. Oh yeah, by the way, we do have 2 towns. Just bear that in mind, right? We do have 2 towns available. So you could see here, I have Praven and I have Osterken. And because this is this is so far away from the Sarranids, it is absolutely impossible for them to besiege this. There's no way there will be anyone going all the way over there to besiege it. Absolutely impossible for them to do that. However, I can besiege this relatively simply. This, oh no, 556. And they also have 17 days worth of food. Oh my. Yeah, well, I was actually hoping to attack one of the closer towns, but apparently that's not in the cards. Alright, so we got ourselves a very, very large battle, and we're going to take it on the chin, aren't we? Yes, we're going to take it on the chin. We're going to just go straight on in here. We're not going to be getting away. No. I'm not going to be retreating or doing anything like that. We are going to try to leverage this river if we can. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is not looking particularly good for us, is it? But what we are going to do is we're going to move absolutely every single person over here. And I'm going to try to get them into this corner. And the best thing that I can do is probably to get onto this little hilltop here, because we've got the river. I don't think this river is really going to make a huge difference. It doesn't super feel that deep or anything like that, so it is not really going to slow people down that much. However, it's the best we've got, isn't it? Yes, it's the best we've got. So I'm going to have to do this straight away. I don't have a horse right now, which is obviously a bit of a problem in itself. I probably should have re-equipped one before coming in here, but, you know, it's me and I forgot. So we're just going to have to make do with being an infantry, just like our friends, just like our companions and our troops are. And that's what we're going to have to do. So let me just see here. We're going to put these guys up here. I'm going to put them in a loose formation. I think that's probably going to be relatively good. And we're going to be placing these other guys over here. We can place the infantry like so. I'm going to be putting them into a shield wall, I assume. And now this is basically what we got to do. We just got to wait, you know? We just got to wait and see what happens. I'm 100% assuming I am going to be losing this, by the way. So I'm taking this battle thinking to myself, I might actually end up losing. But that's the point. This series is not something where I am afraid of defeat. Because, you know, being afraid of defeat, that is a weak mindset. Because here's the thing. Every time we are defeated, if we are defeated, we become stronger after that. I know that sounds like absolute, you know, bull honky, but it's true. It is actually true. We're going to be putting these guys into a shield wall formation right now. And my forces should have a pretty easy time of dealing with these guys. Hopefully the crossbowmen will do a relatively... Oh no, I'm so terrible at fighting against enemy cavalry. You know what? I'm just going to leave my crossbowmen to do their own thing here, and I'm just going to come over here and try to eliminate... Oh yeah, there we go. That's some good damage. Can we get more of that, please? Yeah, they're blocking, of course. They are blocking. But that's fine, because look at how much damage we're doing. Look at how much damage we're doing right now. I'm not losing anyone. I'm not losing anyone right now, because here's the thing. There's 700 people here. 700 individuals want us to die. And obviously, in the grand scheme of things, that is not actually in our schedule. That is not in my schedule, and it shouldn't be in yours either. We will be victorious. And the enemy is actually attempting to come around the side here, which is actually quite good of them. That is a very clever strategy to use. Unfortunately, I am now getting ganged up on, which is indeed going to be a bit of a problem. Let's switch to my sword here. Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to need my crossbow. Yes, my crossbowman actually did help me out a little bit there. Okay, that was good, that was good. And it seems like the enemy is actually running. What? Are they running, or are they just retreating for a tactical retreat? It might be just a tactical retreat. Can I hit this guy? As soon as I attempted to shoot, he died. Oh, that was great. What a wonderful, wonderful turn of events. That's always what happens to me, isn't it? Yeah, anyway. Let's just move my crossbowman a little bit closer here. Just to make sure. No, that was literally just a tactical retreat that they decided to go for. Svala is looking absolutely beastly. Look at her. Wow. She's looking like an absolute tank. Okay, so yeah, otherwise, apart from that, let's have a look. Let's see what happens. Are they going to come back? Yep, they are. They're going to come back. Okay, my crossbowmen are actually getting quite a few kills right now, which is really nice, actually. Look at that. We are weakening them. Unfortunately, the enemy... Oh no, they're peppering us. They're peppering us with thrown weapons, but that's not really that big a deal. They are really not doing that much. And they will be now charging in their infantry once more. I need to survive, by the way. That's the reason why I'm playing a little bit more cautiously and I'm not getting myself in the battle itself, because I kind of need to survive. If I don't survive, my forces will enter auto-delegate, and as we know, that's probably not going to work out too well. That's probably not going to work too well. So I kind of feel like it's probably a good idea for me to just, you know, relax a little bit. And I'm going to try to assist the crossbowmen somewhat. Unfortunately, the enemy's cavalry are actually kind of annoying, but it's okay. We are still doing very, very well here. I'm actually dying because I'm getting killed by stones that the enemy is throwing for some reason. I don't know why I'm dying from stones, but you know, that's just how it is, apparently. And yeah, a couple of arrows are coming my way as well. And I'm probably going to end up dying very, very soon here. There are still 300 enemies to fight. And you can see here, look at the look at the amount of kills that we have. This is insane. 400 almost. Okay. Yeah, are they retreating once again? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to have to be very, very careful here. I might... You know what? Should I just retreat myself all the way back, all the way to the edge of the battlefield? Because, as I said, I do not want to die. If I die, we may actually just lose the battle, just because of the way that auto-delegate works. It may in fact be that way. Whoa, that was a bit close. Okay, no, we're fine. Okay, let's tell my cavalry to charge in, because they're basically just standing there, as you can see. Look at them. They're just standing there, not doing anything. And I think we're okay. I think we will be fine. I am just being very careful here. Yep. I'm starting to hear the retreat music. So I think we are fine. Whoa. Okay. Let's tell everyone to charge now. Oh, no, never mind. No need to charge. And that's it. There you go. A victory for us. We got 629 kills. And of those 629, I got 900. Wow, look at that. I got 900 kills. That's crazy. I'm obviously joking. I got 9. So 104 renown and 108 influence right there. Not bad. And we can indeed take all of them prisoner, which is exactly what we will be doing, because we want to punish them, of course. We want to punish them for what they have done. They have been very naughty, and they will now be suffering in the hands of our finest jailers and the various other wonderful, wonderful people that we have in our employ, of course. Okay, there we go. We're just going to level up a couple of people. And, that's a pretty nice sword, to be honest. Do I want this? I might, actually. Huh, you know what? Yeah, let's use it. Why not? And we'll take the rest here just for selling, of course. There we go. Okay, yeah. And that was actually some really, really nice food supplies as well, by the way. Really, really quite funny that we I had about, like, what, 500, 600 food or something like that. Now we have 860. So that's pretty cool. Otherwise, did I level up? No. Okay, I did not level up. That's unfortunate, I suppose. We do have some people that could potentially join us. I don't really want to get SARRANIDS to join us, so I am basically just being a little bit careful here. And as you saw, because we had such an overwhelming advantage, the environment that we had was extremely good, in my opinion at least, because we did have that small elevation. We placed our archers on the higher elevation. They were able to shoot, getting a lot of kills, actually, surprisingly. Because I know I've said in previous episodes, I've said, yeah, my sharpshooters are not getting as many kills as they potentially could. But this time around, they did. They were getting a load of kills. And I gotta say, I'm actually very impressed by that. Anyway, we can now go in. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to achieve victory here. Let's face it, it is a pretty significant garrison defense. They have almost 400 people, and I'm not entirely convinced I'll be able to do this, but let's give it a go, shall we? Let's give it a go. And I'm just going to speed everything up, and I'm going to be making my way downtown, and we are otherwise going to maybe not be walking as fast as I would like to, because my athletic skill is kind of terrible. But it's okay. Maybe we'll be alright. In many cases, a polearm to the face sorts it out. There we go. Not bad, not bad. Can we get a couple of more hits? There we are. Nice. Get these guys out of the way. Well, I'm actually surprised I'm getting so many kills right now. Usually, because RBM is RBM, they do tend to block quite vividly, and it is not not that easy to get kills. So kind of interesting that they are now doing that, but okay, fine. They're just, you know, refusing to block apparently, which is absolutely fine with me. All right, actually, you know what? Let's get out my my bow here. Let's try and do some damage with the crossbow. I mean, the crossbow is very slow. That's the only thing that we have here that is a bit of a problem. Ah, yes, the catapult is also going to be a bit of an issue, as you can tell. Where is the catapult, by the way? Where is that? Huh. I don't even see where it is. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. I should actually go and try and find it. Where is it? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Where did it go? Yes. Oh, yeah, all the references to wonderful, wonderful songs. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let me actually... Ah, there we go. Found him. All right, here we go. Let's bonk him. Bonk him. Unfortunately, this is actually a... Yeah. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. 51 damage to the head. Are you serious? 51 damage? Okay. Okay, I have to shoot this guy. Boom. There you go. Another 51 damage to the head. Alright, funny. Okay, yeah. What's really, really amusing, though, is that I get less experience for actually getting kills than I do for them blocking when it comes to melee attacks and, and crossbowmen and things like that. Okay, I've got to be careful here because these guys are working together dramatically, and you can see here that they will gang up on me quite a lot. And thankfully, because they are, well, because they're programmed, and I'm going to use the very official term there, yes, because they are told by their programming to stay next to the catapult, you can basically do this thing where you can kind of stay away from, yeah, if only I was better at this game, eh? Yes, if only I was slightly better. or if only I had waited until I had full HP. Because I did not wait until I had full HP to come in. And that might have also contributed to the fact that we did end up having some problems. But that's okay, because we are going to achieve victory here, thanks to our high tier of units. Because otherwise, as you can see, look at our sergeants. They are just absolutely massacring everything. We did end up losing quite a few people, but that's okay. We still have quite a few in our garrison. We do have some sharpshooters in our garrisons way, way, way back in Swadian territory. So I just had to check myself there for a second because I was like, wait a minute, Swadian? Flandian? Swadian? Flandian? Yeah, I don't know. You know, either one. Anyway, 238 renown, and this is exactly what I was talking about. The amount of power leveling you can do with renown when you do solo sieges is insanely lucrative. It is very, very fun to do that. Anyway, I'm just going to be taking all the prisoners because I am obviously at a town right now, so there may as well, you know, be some kind of benefit to this. And we are otherwise just going to be going in here, selling absolutely everyone apart from all the lords, of course. There we go. And I actually gained a pretty significant amount of roguery skill from that. Look at that. I got 5 skill points. Very unheard of, to be honest. Getting any skill points whatsoever in roguery is usually quite difficult just because roguery is one of those skills that just generally takes an age to level. And you just need to be consistent with it more than anything else. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait here for some time, because if someone decides that they want to attack us, then I'm obviously going to be here to defend it. And I would very much like to do a siege defense, actually. A siege defense would be really, really fun, in my opinion, but, well, you know how it is. Yes, it tends not to happen that often. Because the AI is a little bit dubious about things, you know. It does tend to be a little bit slack, a little bit, shall we say, I don't know, a little bit silly about those kinds of things. They generally tend to have the advantage, a dramatic advantage in terms of numbers, and then they go, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I am going to leave. And you always just think to yourself, okay, well, why did they do that? That's kind of strange, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway. Did I level up? No, I did not level up, but we are leveling up some charm skill quite nicely here, and this castle is actually under siege. Wait a minute. We might be able to get there in time to stop it from being taken. Ah, yeah. Hello. Let me do this. Hello, is it me you're looking for? It might be. It just depends. It just depends. I'm not sure what this guy is looking for, but if it's a jar of Marmite, he might be in luck. I haven't had Marmite in years. That is hilarious. Okay, so otherwise, let's be a little bit careful here, because I think... Wait a minute. I said let's be a little bit careful, and I'm literally with a vassal and the garrison, and they're just charging, which is... not good. You do not want to be charging, you know, that's the funny thing about this game. If you're with a vassal and they are themselves in a situation where they're going to end up losing, and they're the ones charging, it is always bad. That's always bad. It's actually quite funny though, because I personally prefer a vassal to charge rather than stand at the edge of the map in the most passive sense possible, not doing anything at all. Because, let's face it, that is probably the worst thing that they can do, because then they're just not going to assist you in any way, shape or form when you're doing your, you know, offensive push or your charge or anything like that, whether that's a field battle or a siege defense. It's always very, very harsh when the AI just lets you die, pretty much. And it happens not often, but it does happen. And when that happens, it's not a good feeling. You know, it's one of those times where you just kind of go, I could have used some help there, you know? Could have used a little bit of assistance. Because the funny thing is, in situations like that, there are many times where you could actually win. And then the only thing preventing you from winning is the lack of action from the allied AI, and it's very, very strange about that. But, you know, RBM does tend to kind of hopefully quell those problems a little bit, although we did have something like that happen in a previous episode where we were going into a very, very large battle, and we had those, you know, we had that, I think it was the Rhodoks and the Swadians? Was it Rhodoks and the Swadians or Rhodoks and the SARRANIDS? I'm actually not entirely sure who it was now, but basically we had a pretty large battle versus battle, I was going to say? No, pretty large army versus army situation, and I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. This is going to be so cool to see, you know, a large army of the Rhodoks in action, you know, because they're most likely going to be insanely strong, right? They're going to be extremely, extremely strong, especially versus, you know, cavalry-based factions. And they just stood there in the corner of the battlefield, and they basically just let the enemy run around randomly, and yeah, it was... it was a bit of a funny situation, I gotta say. Definitely a funny situation, and definitely something that I'd like to try to avoid in future. So, yeah, that's one of those times, you know. That's one of those times. Because they easily could have won. That's the funny thing. The Rhodoks could have easily won that, but they decided against it for unknown reasons. Anyway, I have a massive amount of vassals currently taken prisoner. Pretty sure that means that the SARRANIDS are going to be... Whoops, I just did the wrong thing. I almost literally traded all these vassals for nothing. Okay. Yeah, pretty sure this means that the SARRANIDS are going to be making peace really, really soon. So I'm just going to be donating all of these prisoners into the garrison here, and we're going to be gaining massive amounts of charm skill. Look at that, massive amounts of charm skill there. And we are also getting some really, really good relation gains, even though it's not really necessary. You know, the relation gain, I don't really care about that too much. But it's always good to have relation in comparison to not having relation, right? You know, you want to make sure that everyone is extremely satisfied. And so getting relations, especially with, you know, those you're related to, especially, you know, clan members and things like that, that's definitely going to help you, you know. Anyway, Natural Leader is one of the best, one of the best perks in the entire game. And there are quite a few good perks in the charm skill tree. I mean, you can see here, look at this. Natural Leader, -1 persuasion success required against characters of different cultures. This is obviously fantastic for a variety of reasons. Marriage and bartering. Marriage, of course, because, let's face it, you're probably going to want to marry a lady or a lord from a different faction, you know, different culture. If you don't want to do that, then you obviously want to take moral leader, because that's going to be, characters of your own culture. But I personally like natural leader because it also provides you with a clan leader bonus, which is a plus 20% experience gain for companions. So that's obviously fantastic too, in my opinion at least. Now, obviously for me, I'm probably not going to be doing much persuading or bartering or anything like that, but you never know. Maybe I will get married at some point. I don't really know whether that's going to be anything that I'd like. But yeah, anyway, there you go. We've expanded. We've taken this castle and indeed this town. And I'm kind of hoping that we'll be able to take these two castles and then De Cuba. That is definitely going to be making a really, really big dent in the SARRANIDS and their territory. And you can see here that we actually have some insane amounts of rebellion going on in the south as well. Very interesting. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.